This year in review, or really when we've been starting crunching numbers when I got here in August up to what we've got right now. So as Chris was saying, a lot of this was presented at the World Golf Fitness Summit back in October, but all of this is kind of the first look. So you are getting the first look of the updated numbers, and the formulas are now correct. So yeah, I kind of titled this, "What Are You Doing With My Data?" So those of you who are members, you guys have been through test week, you've been through the golf fitness evaluation. Chris has been kindly keeping all that data since 2016. My job was to organize it and make it make sense. Now it is starting to, and this is the result of it. So I want to start off, again, kind of reiterating what Chris was saying, and just thank all of you that have been with us. Some of y'all have been with us since Chris was literally out of the back of his car. We've got this wonderful facility. We're over at Briar Creek Country Club now. And without your dedication, your hard work, and your kind of willingness to let us train you and work on your favorite hobby, golf, none of this would really be possible. So again, just reiterating what he's saying, thank you so much for all your hard work. And for those of y'all who aren't members, this is what you can gain with what we're doing over here. So this past year, we've kind of worked on 4 main studies. These are going to give us a good jumping ground for everything we're going to be doing in the future, which I'll talk about at the end. So my job for the next 15 to 20 minutes is to not bore you all to death. If I start seeing people nod off, I'll quit. Feel free to get some drink, food, etc. Again, it's very informal. Ask questions. I could talk about this stuff for hours. Right? If you ever see me in the office and I'm yelling at my computer, this is what I'm doing. But I could talk about this all day. I'll try to condense it all down. So the first thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to create what's called normative data. So we wanted to take all this information we had and allow people to compare between your peers. All right. So if we have a 16-year-old female come in at a golf fitness evaluation, I want to, with good confidence, be able to say, this is what you're good at. This is what we need to work on. All right. So right now we've got well over 500 data points across all age ranges. We range from 10 to about 75. All right. We've got good sample sizes to basically be able to say, this is how you tested and this is how you compare to your peers. So why is that important? It allows us to make the most custom program for you, right? So we're not just throwing random stuff up on the board every day, even though sometimes it might look like it, especially with those WODs Alex has been creating. But it's all got a purpose behind it, right? We're trying to get each and every single one of y'all the biggest gains possible in the least amount of time. All right, that's kind of our job that we take very seriously. So this is what we've created so far. I want to show you kind of the first, this is kind of the crown jewel of it all. So this is percentile rankings for club head speed, broken down by your age and your gender. All right, so we've got different groupings of folks. One I'd like to point out is ladies between 30 and 50 years old. We've had one person come in. So if you have any friends in that demographic, we could certainly get them better here at Par for Success, and we would love to work with them. So you can kind of see where our big groupings of data points are, right? We've got that 10 to 16-year-old group. So guys in the middle there, that's you guys, give a little fist pump. We got a big grouping in through there. We're pretty confident in our numbers. They're looking really good. And then kind of our 50-plus golfer, we've got good groupings in there. All right, so a lot of you guys and gals that I'm seeing in the mornings and lunchtime, that's your wheelhouse. So if any of y'all were here for test week last week, and you remember your numbers, or within the past month or so, look at how you compare. All right, so that column under 50th percentile, that's your average golfer that we see come in here, their club head speed. All right, so if you're below that, or if you're above that, it tells you, hey, we might need to improve a little bit, right? I've yet to have anyone come in that was like, nah, I'm swinging just as fast and as hard as I want, and I'm hitting it just as far. All right, all of you guys and gals are looking for a few more yards off the tee. This is the biggest thing we're working on here in this facility. All right, any questions on this guy? The thing I would say about this that I take a lot of pride in, we are the only facility in the country and the world, as far as I know, that has this kind of data. All right, it looks very simple, it looks very basic, but we're the only ones that have it. So TPI especially has got a lot of wonderful 3D graphs. Some of y'all might have been on our K-Vest and things like that. They're wonderful with all of that, but we're the only place that has this type of information. Now our goal is to try to get this all across the country so that we can see what trends there are and kind of produce that we're the best in the country at getting this swing speed up. All right, does anybody have any questions on this so far? This is kind of the first big part of what we've been looking at. If not, I'll keep going.
I think that's an important point, though. A lot of you guys will see the tour average. These are the averages that matter. Don't compare yourself to Dustin Johnson and Lydia Poe and Lexi Thompson. These are the numbers that actually are true. That's the unique part about this, is it's actually, we can tell you for your age, where you stand. So this is all, we have this on our website. If you haven't already, download it for free, the entire report, so you can go through everything.
Yeah. So based off of that, now we can look at where you're strong, where you're weak. We can know where to improve you as a golfer and as an athlete with all of these. So these exist for every single one of the tests that we do during our test week. Right? So every time I'm looking at that number and saying, Alan, we got to get that vertical jump a little bit better. No, I'm just kidding. It's doing great. But I can say, this is the percentile that you're at. Maybe our program doesn't need to emphasize this as much. All right, so this is a big help for us when we're designing those programs. So step number 2 is correlations. All right, so basically we want to take all these tests that we put you guys through, and we want to make sure that they actually mean something. Right? We're not trying to waste your time or our time. We want them to correlate well to club head speed, right? So we're also trying to look at for which age group and which gender is which test the most important, right? If you're 65, you might want to train like a 16-year-old, but you probably can't. Vice versa, we're not going to train our juniors the same way we train our adults. All right, so what we wanted to see is make sure that what our guesses were correct. Right? So what test and what kind of physical attribute means the most for you at your age to swing the club faster? All right, again, this is just going back to making the most efficient and effective program possible. Because that's where you're going to get the best results. So here's our big table of all the correlations that we have compared to club head speed. This was one that fitness and medical professionals were dying over at World Golf Fitness Summit, because this is really, really important stuff. My goal with this is to be able to say, all right, your weakness is rotational power. Does improving your rotational power therefore improve your ability to swing the golf club faster? Right? So I've kind of bolded the probably 1 or 2 most important ones for each age group. If it's a little bit of a jumbled mess, don't worry. Again, you can download the report on the website. We've got some typing outs, so it makes a little bit more sense. But you can look at how, say, the seated chest pass for those 10 to 16-year-old guys, your upper body strength and power is really, really, really important. So the closer that number gets to 1, that's why I make you guys do a bunch of push-ups, right? A whole lot of push-ups. Whereas, if you go down to our 60 plus, that seated chest pass isn't terribly important for you, right? So yes, we still make you do bench press, we still make you do floor press, we still make you do landmine press and all that good stuff, but how much more rotational work are we doing? Right, how many more med ball tosses, and what we'll get to, how many more rotations on the Kaiser or the K-pulley or the K-box are we doing for you guys? So if you look at those 2 different programs, they're going to look very different because we're working on different attributes for each age of golfer. All right? So these are all, so if you look at the top column, that's the test that we do. Okay, so vertical jump, chest pass, the shot put, and the Kaiser, right? So these are all how well these tests relate to club head speed, okay? So the bold numbers are the closest number to 1. If it's a 1-to-1 ratio, that means that if you are very good at the vertical jump, that I can also say you are good at club head speed.
So that's to the mean of each of these?
No, so this is the R value, the correlational value. Okay? Basically, I'm creating a graph, and I'm seeing if you are good at each one of those tests, how fast do you swing the club? Okay? And then we've broken that down by age group. So the positive numbers, closer to 1, is you're more impactful. If it's close to 0, it's less impactful. And
You could have some sleepers there too, right? Like it could be that all 4 guys aren't good at that chest pass if we don't do that post.
Potentially. That's kind of the next step of the data, right? Is next step is taking this and being able to say, you were bad at the chest pass, I made you better at the chest pass, but did that improve your club head speed? Exactly, right? So this is kind of step 1. I need to know what relates, and then we can see change in what. You got it. You got it. So down in the bottom right corner, I'm going to highlight the red, and I'm going to throw a little ball to Alex's direction. All right. One of the biggest things of bringing Alex on board is her skills in the nutrition department. All right. Which all of us know go out the window when we go play around a golf. All right. What is nutrition? It's some beers and some sandwiches at the 12th hole, right? No. So negative numbers, those are bad. So for you 60 plus, your weight actually has a negative correlation to how fast you swing the club. All right, so I'm going to throw the nutrition to her, right? We're trying to build that into our programs. We're trying to make that more of a consideration for kind of during your round and your day-to-day, right? If we're working hard here in the training, we need to back that up with our recovery and our nutrition outside of it. Now, if you go up the column, look at our guys, 10 to 16-year-olds. Again, how many times did I tell you guys, make sure that you're getting a good dinner after you work out, go home, right? Because body weight has a very large correlation to how fast you're swinging the club. All right, again, why I make you do so many push-ups. All right? So, again, this is all going back to helping us design the most effective program possible. All right, does anyone have any questions about any of these numbers? The percentile rankings are a little bit easier to digest. I really love statistics. This stuff I look at all the time, right? I would say too, if you have any questions, feel free to come ask me afterwards. Yes?
What surprised you?
I think the way it broke down by the age groups was a little bit surprising, right? Just the drastic differences that you can get. Even so, if you look at the 17 to 30-year-old males versus females, so that's looking at our more elite and high-level high school, collegiate, and aspiring and pro players, right? You look at the difference between the males and the females on that seated chest pass, that's telling me that the females are not needing upper body power to swing fast. So why do I need to emphasize that so much in their program when I could be spending my time on something else, right? Whereas the males, that's very important. I need you to have a strong upper body so you can swing well. So I think just looking even in the same age groups, the differences that the genders would have in emphasizing different things. So fantastic question. I like that one. Because it is always fun. You go in with a thought of what it's going to look like, and then the numbers don't lie, as long as the formulas are correct. So, any other questions on any of this? Yes?
What if something doesn't seem to stand out? Would you ever design another test to kind of find another part of the motion to test, or are these kind of your standard tests?
I will talk about that at the end. Yeah. This is what we've got going for us right now.
Just so I'm kind of clear on it, based on that, the vertical jump is twice as important for 10 to 16-year-old males as it is for 17 to 30-year-old males, essentially.
Vertical jump. You can kind of make that. That's not exactly it. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yep. So, and again, we can correlate that to our training, right? As you grow, kind of go through that growth spurt between probably 13 to 17 to 18, maybe you're learning how to use the ground more, and that vertical jump doesn't become as important to differentiate you between your competitors, right? Whereas when you're younger, if I can teach you how to jump, teach you how to land, that's going to help you out more. Is that a good question? Yeah.
You were looking at a shot putting Kaiser on both the right and left. Have you split this out between the right and left-handed players?
We do not have enough lefties to make a good sample size. Yeah, there's few and far between of you guys. So, yeah, we don't have a big enough sample to really correlate that big.
Point being, though, that a lefty could mess up your correlation.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
If you pull them out,
Yeah, I don't think it would make that big of a change since it's, again, a fairly small number of data points there. But I would just take it more as, I know you're left-handed. I know that the dominant right-sided shot put is the most important, so we're going to train your dominant side. Right? Cool. Awesome questions, everybody. Again, think of them during the rest of the talk. Ask me. I could talk about this stuff all day. Cool. So then here's the third part that we looked at. So as Chris was saying, we got the really cool K-box and the K-pulley. If y'all haven't seen that technology before, you can certainly go try it out afterwards. We just got a brand new attachment to it that Chris and I were messing with a bunch this morning. It's super fun. Everybody loves it, right? All right, seen a lot. So what we did was we had a 6-week study towards the end of the golf season, right before the off season started, right before this snow and cold weather hit us. And we wanted to see how effective those pieces of equipment were compared to your standard training to get your club head speed up. All right, so we've got the results up here. So if you were part of the study and you remember what group you were in, you can say, yay, this is my average improvement in that group. Yeah, so I know some of y'all were in it. I put it, so each mile per hour that you swing is about 3 to 4 yards extra on your hits. So I translated that over to a rough estimate. Here is the biggest part of this. We put this study towards the end of the season when most of y'all that are members here drop a little bit in attendance because you're trying to get those few last rounds before daylight savings time and the winter months come in, right? What has been historically seen in our data is that your swing speed actually decreases during those months because you're playing more and you're training less. So we put a little trick on you guys, and because y'all were so good at attending during the study, our average attendance actually went up during that time frame. So the nice thing about the fact that everybody improved is that means that the program that mostly Alex came up with actually was a good program, right? Hopefully nobody lost miles per hour if you were training hard. There's a little bit of a difference there, right? This is kind of, again, step one in figuring out the best way to use these pieces of technology, right? So those of you who are members are in the classes, you're going to see it more. You're going to see different variations of it. We're going to keep playing around with it because it's a useful piece of equipment, and we're still figuring out the best way to do it. So if you want to play on it later, I very much encourage you to do so. We'll help you set it up, answer any questions. Anybody that was part of it, do y'all have any feedback as to what you enjoyed about this study? And there's quite a few of y'all in here. Alan, I know you love the K-Box. Yeah, there you go. Rod, you were in the K-Box group, right? Good? Good stuff. I think one thing I heard, so it's not going to show up in the data, but one thing that I heard consistently from folks was that they felt more confident swinging faster. Even if necessarily the numbers didn't go up, they felt a lot more in control. So the interesting part about this technology is when you do a motion, the harder you push on it, the harder it pulls you backwards. All right, so you've got to be a whole lot more stable and a whole lot more in control when you're using these pieces of equipment than you would just with your normal barbell. All right, so it's really cool stuff. I encourage everybody, if you haven't tried it, look at it, play around with it. It's going to be an integral part of the things that we're doing moving forward. All right, last one. I feel people getting a little bit restless. Let's talk about everybody's favorite new piece of technology, the SuperSpeed Sticks. All right, you can see our little corner of them over there. I brought 3 of them up here. So what we did was we broke the people that were part of the study into 4 groups. Right, so I've got the sticks here. We got one group, Rennie, swung all the sticks, right? That was a lot of swings, huh?
Yes.
A lot of swings.
96.
Yes, exhausting amount of swings. All right. There's also just a light stick, there's just a medium stick, and there's just a heavy stick, right? So SuperSpeed has created these protocols, and we wanted to put them to the test. So here are the results. For those of y'all who are in the light stick group, I am sorry to say that on average you got worse. All right, so from the bottom of my heart, I deeply apologize. All right. It was randomized. At least Alex told me it was randomized. If you have complaints, you can talk with her. Yeah, so on average, you actually got half a mile an hour slower on your swing speed stick. So I'm just going to toss that guy to the side. The heavy stick, this big guy. You probably felt like you were going to tear some muscles in your shoulder or your back, right? Didn't feel good. Again, I apologize from the bottom of my heart that you did not get any better by swinging the heavy stick. All right, so I'm going to toss that guy to the side too. It made sense. I did it for a little while, but the numbers don't lie. So now we're left with a conundrum. We've got the all sticks protocol, which, as Rennie was saying, is a whole lot of swings, right? It's a little tiring. And then we've got the medium stick, which for those of y'all who are in the one stick only group, you realize that it actually went by pretty quick. We did force you to rest in between, but it didn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes to get this whole thing done, right? So on average, this is purely an average of everybody in the group. If you just swung this medium stick, you got 4.6 miles an hour faster on your club head speed. All right, that's pretty cool. The part that I like too is it was 6 weeks. It didn't take more than 10 minutes, 2 times per week. That was 2 total hours out of a month and a half that you spent swinging a stick. You got almost 5 miles an hour better. All right. If you're serious about golf and you want to get better and you're competitive about it, it doesn't make sense not to do something like this. All right. So this is kind of one of the big takeaways for it is if you've got 20 minutes a week, you can get better with this stick. Yes, sir.
Was that consistent across all the participants in the medium stick study, or were there a few outliers that pulled up the data?
No, so it was that was actually one of the more consistent groups. I didn't put the range up here, but I'm pretty sure the medium stick was the only one that everyone actually did improve. Whereas every other group had at least 1 or 2 people that their swing speeds went down. Right, and that's why it's such a high number, is that nobody got slower. So that's a great question right there. Right, so that's an extra 12 to 15 yards. That's almost a club, right? So that's a pretty good competitive advantage right there. Any questions on this? So again, this is just step 1. And here's what I want to talk about what we're going to be doing in 2019, because this is what I'm jazzed up about. All right, we've got more to learn about these. They're great tools. They work. All right, even the all sticks protocol, even though it was pretty exhausting, still got you better. All right, so for those of y'all who are members, look out. February 4th, you're going to be randomized again into some groups. The biggest thing that we found is it's a little bit difficult to get here on another day to do the protocol that we asked y'all to do. So we are building this into your existing programs, right? So it's going to be part of your warm-up on the days that you come in. It's going to be, again, 2 times per week, and we'll tell you more details about all that good stuff then. But our goal is to figure out, again, what's the best way to use these to give you that competitive advantage that you need. All right. Second thing is we're going to continue using the K-Box and the K-Pulley. We love it. It's super fun, even for those of y'all who hate it, which I know there are some that do. It is a great piece of equipment. It really does help out your muscles, your joints, tendons, ligaments, right? It's a wonderful piece of equipment. You're going to be seeing it a whole lot more. All right. As Chris was saying, we're going to have these specialized swing speed schools kind of built into the program. We're doing a whole lot in terms of the strength and conditioning to keep everybody healthy, right? But we're really going to ramp up that swing speed here coming up. All right, we're seeing more and more how important distance is. And not only that, but distance through years, right? We want you to still be playing golf 5, 10, 15 years from now. All right, so the more work we can put in to get you faster now, the better you'll be off down the road. All right, and the last thing, promise is the last thing, is give a little credit to Mike over here in the corner. We had a great session last night. Kind of talking about all the stuff that we are looking at this upcoming year. So we got to work up at Northridge with the catalyst, or the swing catalyst, ground reaction forces. All right, we took some of our pro players up there to kind of look at what all does this kind of data tell us. So our next project is the, say it 5 times fast, Par for Success Personalized Power Production Profile. All right, so this is going to take your physical characteristics, right? How well you move, how strong you are, how powerful you are. And we're going to optimize that to give you the best swing possible. All right, from a fitness and from a PT perspective, to keep you strong and keep you healthy, we want you swinging optimally for your body. All right, so that is kind of the next step of all this, and this is kind of the revolution that we're hoping to take worldwide, all right? Not just here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but that's going to take all of what we're doing. That's fantastic, and with all the hard work y'all are putting in, it's just going to take it to the next level. So, any questions on anything, feel free to ask me afterwards. That's all I've got from our studies so far. If you think of any other questions, I could talk about this, like I said, for hours and hours. It gets me jazzed up, as Chris well knows. So, thank you everybody for your attention. Hopefully you got some good takeaways. Awesome.
We're streaming this on Facebook.
Yeah.
Want to wave to all those?
Yeah, wave to the people on Facebook.